Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Sports Today. We just witnessed an absolute thriller of a Group H opener between Portugal and Ghana, and Portugal may have emerged 3-1 winners in this particular day, but I think they will be thanking their lucky stars multiple times over that they actually managed to get away with the 3 points. Now, I'll quickly just go over the major, summation of the match, and then we'll go into the major talking points. So, first half, the match was nil-nil. Ghana, who started with five defenders, defending very, very resolutely. To their credit, they managed to keep Portugal pretty quiet. But then what happened after that in the second half was that there was a penalty given away, and we'll discuss how valid or invalid a penalty that was. But the penalty was given. Cristiano Ronaldo stepped up, scored it, converted it, became the first male player to score in five consecutive editions of the World Cup. It looked like it was game all over at that point, and in fact, it did look like that when Portugal got the second goal as well. So once they were 2 goals up, it really did look like that was it. It was going to be match over, and it was not going to be. Ghana, to be fair, were pretty spirited, but after a point, it didn't look like they would be coming back. Now, the second goal, of course, you'd remember was scored by Yao Felix, 78th minute. He's put through, and he ends up putting a very, very clinical finish through. At that point, the game looked over, but Andre Ayew had actually given Ghana a bit of hope when he scored in the 73rd minute, and at that point, it looked like the game was, could be anyone's game. Yao Felix restored parity. Rafael Leao's goal, by the way, it looked like it ended the match, but it didn't really, because again, Osman Bukhari in the 89th minute ended up actually bringing one back, and then 9 minutes of added time that became 10 minutes of added time. It's safe to say Portugal fans were very, very worried, and in fact, they had more reasons to be worried when their goalkeeper he actually ended up, he looked to just kind of put the ball into open play, and there was Diogo Costa, their goalkeeper. He grabbed the ball, he just rolled it down, not realizing that a Ghanaian player was still behind him, and if that player had not slipped, if that player, it was Inaki Williams, if he had not slipped, then we could actually be talking about this being a 3-3. In fact, Diogo Costa has actually had a pretty bad game, all things considered, because there was one part where he kind of came charging out, and you thought for sure that, look, if he loses the ball there, then it's an easy finish for Ghana, right? And in fact, that was what in fact was said to happen, but anyway, now moving on to the talking points. The major thing which we have to talk about, first off, that penalty. Was it really a penalty? Yes. Was it a soft penalty? Also yes. I did think, if and by the way, this is a general consensus within the newsroom. All of us who were watching that match, which was a gripping match, we were at the edge of our seats, but most of us agreed that if the referee had actually gone to VAR and consulted for that particular penalty which Portugal got, then they might not have actually gotten that penalty, because it was very, very soft. The referee himself, by the way, failed to actually keep a lid on things for the most part. The game did flow freely, but there were points where I thought he could have been more strict. So the controversy comes from the fact that Ghana can rightfully say that, look, if that penalty wasn't given, we might just have actually had a chance. But whilst that would be correct, it's also worth noting that Ghana could very well have actually played more attackingly to begin with. They started off the match, and they were very. It was a very flatline defense, which in fact, pretty much hamstrung them to begin with, because yes, they were looking to be tight defensively. Then in that sense, maybe, just maybe, they could have actually ended up on the counter. But if you watched Ghana and the way they were playing, when they started playing more attacking football, they were actually dominating the games for short periods. So it begs the question as to what would have been the case if Ghana were actually playing that style of football throughout the match. I'll just quickly take a few of you guys' comments, because I'm seeing them rolling in. So Rohit Roy says that imagine if Portugal considered at the last moment that goal for a silly mistake by the keeper. Yeah, a lot of what ifs, this being probably the main one. Inaki Williams, very, very unlucky that he actually slipped, because if he didn't, I'm pretty sure he would have converted that gift of a chance 10 times out of 10. Love Rami said that Rafael Leao's goal was crucial at that moment. Yes. And Sharat S says that exactly would have been an anticlimax. Absolutely agree. Ankit is asking why controversial. I explained why. Sharat says CR7 goat for a reason. Well, 5 straight World Cup goals. You can't disagree with the fact that many consider him the greatest of all time, and with very, very good reason. Love Rami once again says that Portugal need to strengthen their defense. Poor defense, conceding 2 goals against a last ranked team is a concern. Look, I do get your point in that regard, but I don't think FIFA rankings are that much of a factor when it comes into matches like this. Because again, FIFA rankings, I've seen teams with poor rankings perform really, really well. And Ghana, to be fair, as they showed, very, very spirited side. They know how to play some seriously good football. And I think if they had been playing that way beforehand, might have been a more competitive game. Portugal might have been tested more. But you're right, Portugal defensively, when questions were asked of them, they didn't really quite have the answers. And their goalkeeper, Diogo Costa, man, I was very surprised to see Diogo Costa start because I was pretty sure you'd see some other one keeper over there. But Diogo Costa, I mean, there's going to be question marks over him too. Two howlers in this match, neither of them actually amounted to anything. But if they did, we'd have been having a very different conversation right about now. CR7 is GOAT. Great. Okay. Anish says Portugal keeper very poor. Correct. Yes. Bapaditya Karan says that except Spain, every top team has struggled till now. You know what? Yeah, actually, most top teams haven't really had a good time, and Spain were the only team really against when they were playing against Costa Rica yesterday. They were the only team that played the match like they were a top side, like they knew they were a big team, they knew they were here to win the World Cup, and they knew they wanted to compete. So in that sense, yes, the other top teams have struggled. We've seen Germany lose, we've seen Argentina lose yesterday. Even Belgium, who many would consider a top team, they may have won, but Canada were very unlucky to not get away with at least a point, and Belgium were underwhelming. Even if you look beyond that, Croatia, last year's finalists, last year's runners-up, were held to a 0-0 draw by Morocco. And yes, Abhinav Iyer. In fact, I had to mention that. Abhinav Iyer saying that the Ghana player doing the Sioux celebration was very funny. Yes, I was Osman Bukhari. He did the Sioux celebration, and it had Ronaldo annoyed to no end. And yes, the goalkeeper did in fact almost do a brain fade. Rajiv Maggo, agree with you. And Bapaditya Karan saying England too. Correct. Which brings me to the other question which I wanted to answer. Mahadev Shrishti is asking which is my favorite team. Answers England. Why? Well, I don't know. I just decided I took a fancy to them when I was a kid, and unfortunately, I'm still stuck supporting them. Either which way, summing up this match, good game if you're looking at it from a neutral's perspective. Portugal fans would have had their hearts in their mouths. Spicy Sports saying that last steal was lit. It would have been one of those comedy meme compilation goals if it had to go in. Luckily for Diogo Costa, it did not. Anyway, Portugal are now top of Group H, having won their first match. Ghana currently last because again you remember South Korea and Uruguay both ended up playing out a goalless draw earlier. So that's that. Thank you guys for joining us joining us for this particular live. Again, don't forget to keep joining us. We're going to be coming with you guys as well when Brazil are done playing. Still one more match, a lot of World Cup action still to go. Join us for that. And if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed having this chat, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment, tap the bell icon, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And last but not least, don't forget to download the AajTak app. Over there, you can get the highlights of the FIFA World Cup, whether it be goal by goal, whether it be full highlights, and of course in English and Hindi, depending on the language of choice. And you can also consume some top quality content based on the World Cup. Thank you all for joining us again. Bye bye for now.